both sides of the story by calling our local numbers 876 922 4112 to 5. You can listen to both sides of the story on the Power 106 FM app via the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, as well as on onespotmedia.com. Plus, listeners in the USA can dial 631-359-8281 to listen. And if you're in the UK and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, you can call 0330-606-0953. You can watch both sides of the story live on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Both Sides 106. Email bothsides106 at live.com. Send your WhatsApp voice notes, audio messages, and text messages to 876 365 3346. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become. The farther you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. The thought that my pride was gone. Won't do. There's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Your lies will come tumbling. Deny my place and time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind you. Because there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Won't do. There's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough, but we know better. Just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. But that my pride was wrong. Oh no, oh no. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. But you're doing me wrong, so wrong. But that my pride was wrong. Oh no, oh no. Something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong.
It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 18th day of the 7th month of 2024. Put another way, it's the 18th day of the second month of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. It is Constitution Day in Uruguay, and Nelson Mandela's birthday is being celebrated in South Africa and the rest of the world. Hence our selections this afternoon here on both sides of the story. The first piece being Invictus, Invictus, by William Ernest Henley. William Ernest Henley, Invictus. That's the poem that we recited this afternoon, and paired that with, well, that was, yeah, and paired that now with the theme song, Something Inside So Strong, Labi Seifert. It is Thursday, the 18th of July, 2024, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to both sides of the story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Just look 'em in the eyes and say, we wanna do it anyway. Wanna do it anyway. Wanna do it anyway. Wanna do it anyway. Something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. But that my pride was gone. Oh no, oh no. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. But you're doing me wrong, so wrong. But that my pride was gone. Oh no, oh no. Something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong.
Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Morant Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuning in for the first time. Welcome. Good to have you on board. For those who are always with us, thank you very much. We appreciate your listenership and support. What's on your mind this afternoon? The lines are open as usual, 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. A few messages to clear now. Let's see who we have here online. Well, the first set of messages are from yesterday afternoon. And so we had Neville, otherwise known as Salah, saying Dervan Kensington Primary School in St. Catherine is a national disgrace. How could a school bar a child because of the child's dreadlocks? And their reasons were that the child's dreadlocks could breed lice and junjo. All right, we'll come back with more of that in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
With over 40 years of record service, Lock Safe and Vault Limited is your trusted security provider. Get affordable prices on a wide variety of seals, garage doors, access control supplies, magnetic lock, fingerprint, weatherproof keypads, card access system, time attendants, power supplies, and exit buttons. Professional services provided. Visit 40 Shortwood Road, Kingston 8. Problem solved with Lock Safe and Vault. Inside so strong.
Right, to finish that message, let's see. My belief is that everyone should withdraw their children from Kensington Primary. Those who are in charge need to go and find another job. Salah from Kingston. Thank you for your message, Salah from Kingston. Arlene Clark says, hello, Dervan. I missed your show today, or this was yesterday, due to no light. Dervan, please highlight this grave situation. Mosquitoes eating us up in Helsha and the Norman Manley International Airport. Ministry of Health need to know that the place is infested. Please help Dervan. This is no joke. No, I wasn't laughing at all. Why would anybody be laughing at this? But unfortunately, this is one of the recurring situations, especially at this time of the year when the conditions are wetter and there are catchments of little puddles of water or containers of water here, there, and everywhere, much to the liking of the mosquitoes. So over to the authorities in the municipality, in the corporate area. Please check if you're up to date with your fogging routine and all the other resources that you would normally use to ward off the mosquitoes. Over to the municipality. Let's see this one. Bishop Douglas Gooden checking in with us as usual. Leo Gilling, good afternoon to you. And what's this? Gomosley. That's from Guyana. Ras Asta Black is in touch with us. Franklin MacDonald has sent us a link, and he has sent us a couple. These two came in today, and this one was about incorporating heat waves and smoke waves into disaster. I'm not seeing the rest of it. Let's see. Defining disaster, incorporating heat waves and smoke waves into disaster policy. Extreme heat and similar people-centered disasters like heavy wildfire smoke kills thousands of Americans annually, more than any other weather disaster. However, U.S. disaster policy is more equipped for events that damage infrastructure than those that mainly cause deaths. Policy actions can save lives and money by better integrating people-centered disasters. At the federal level, emergency management is coordinated through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, with many other agencies as partners, including Centers for Disease Control, CDC, Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and Small Business Administration, SBA. Central to the FEMA process is the requirement under the Stafford Act that the president declare a major disaster, which has never happened, for extreme heat. This seems to be caused by a lack of tools to determine when a heat wave event escalates into a heat wave disaster, as well as a lack of a clear vision of federal responsibilities around a heat wave disaster. Gap number 1. When is a heat event a heat disaster? Gap number 2. What is the federal government's role in a heat disaster? Plan of action to address these gaps and better incorporate extreme heat and people-centered disasters into U.S. emergency management. Congress and federal agencies should take several interrelated actions. Recommendation number 1, defining disaster. And there's a lot of data on this issue. And we ask that you, if and when you're able to, do a search for Federation of American Scientists. Federation of American Scientists. So that you can, in your own time and space, read on and acquire some more information here or share some of the information that you have. Recommendation number 2, determining federal response to heat disasters. That's another of the recommendations. And again, we encourage you to look it up, Federation of American Scientists. And so you can see the conclusion that they have drawn on this matter. Thank you for sharing, Mr. MacDonald. Then there is this Gleaner article published today. Let's see if we... Right. Government to name committee to review disaster preparedness mechanism. Government to name committee to review disaster preparedness mechanism. That's where it's at now. The government will shortly be naming a committee to review the country's disaster preparedness mechanism. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure while addressing the Jamaica Government Pensioners Association's 57th Annual General Meeting on Wednesday at the Terra Nova All-Suite Hotel in St. Andrew. Holness explained that the review is intended to improve the national disaster response mechanism. And noting that while the country's preparedness and relief response has improved over the past 36 years since the passage of Hurricane Gilbert in 1988 and subsequent storms Ivan in 2004, Dean in 2007, and Gustav in 2008, he said, with the increased likelihood of more frequent severe weather events impacting the country, constant improvement is necessary. Beryl has left a significant impact on many of our communities, particularly St. Thomas, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and Hanover. The storm has caused loss and damage that we're still grappling with. Our hearts go out to those who have lost loved ones and those whose homes and livelihoods have been adversely affected. That's coming from the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister emphasized that critical utility providers continue to work to restore service in those areas that have been adversely impacted by the passage of Hurricane Beryl and pleaded for patience. And the Prime Minister commended the efforts of all well-thinking Jamaicans and other stakeholders who have given assistance in the recovery effort. And it goes on. So that's in one of the stories in today's Gleaner. And in your time and at your leisure, please feel free to indulge. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Let's see who else is messaging us. This one, the Travel News Group. Not sure who distributes those, but we'll see if we can make the time to give it a read to see what that is about. In the meantime, let us greet those who have just joined us and those who have been with us. Thank you very much. Faye Weller says, "Blessed love, Mr. Dervan, and faithful listeners. Keep up the amazing work." That's very kind of you, Miss Weller. Audrey Smith says, "Afternoon, Dervan and listeners, tuning in from Southampton." Welcome, Audrey Smith. Cheryl Chensu says, "Good afternoon, Professor Malcolm. I really love to hear more on this Rastafarian issue." And what part of it, Cheryl Chensu? Feel free to raise the subject or highlight the particular point of view that you're trying to put across. Catherine Kelly says, "Good day, Sir Malcolm. Enjoying the program as always." Thank you, Catherine Kelly, for your usual listenership and support. Jessica, good afternoon to you too, and hope you'll have a pleasant day as well. Inez Ayona Campbell, pleasant Thursday afternoon to you too. Valerie Weller Peck, good afternoon. And we extend that to everybody else watching and listening to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. And so we continue to take your calls on 876-922-4112-5 and the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. And let's go to a break and come back with more in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. It continues to be all smiles at Wellington Dental. We offer dental care for the entire family, including cleaning, filling, whitening, and other dental services. There's wheelchair access and an exciting play area for the children. Wellington Dental, 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town. Telephone 876-984-5482 or 876-749-3515. One cocoa.
Full basket.
Yeah.
1 Quaker full basket. And the appeal continues as we turn our attention to our neighbors in Clarendon as they pick up the pieces in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. We're collecting non-perishable food items, tin goods, water, toiletries, batteries, flashlights, whatever you can afford. Every mickle mecca muckle. Drop off at RJR Gleaner 32 Linders Road or at 7 North Street, Kingston by midday on Saturday, July 20. Let's join hands and hearts to assist our fellow Jamaicans in Clarendon on the road to recovery.
Come together and make it work. The harder you build your barriers.
Thank you for staying with us on both sides of the story, Poro 106 FM. I've been asked to share this information involving three or four organizations. The Jaja Foundation, Jamaicans Abroad, Helping Jamaicans at Home, which is led by Dr. Trevor Dixon. There's also the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations, UJA, which is led by, this is Samuel is our surname. And it will come back to me. And there is also Trans-Carib Express Shippers, and also listing as a supporting, another member of the supporting cast, the Dumpling Shop, and it's under the banner, the overarching banner of Hurricane Beryl Relief Jamaica. The Jaja Foundation, in collaboration with the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations, and the Trans-Carib or Carib Express Shippers has arranged a 40-foot container to ship relief supplies to the less fortunate affected by Hurricane Beryl in the communities of St. Elizabeth. Here's a look at the needs list. In the area of building and home, items like tarpaulin, plyboard, generator, nails, screws, lanterns, flashlights, disinfectant, bathing soap, detergent, rags, mosquito repellent. So that's the building and home category. Then there's the food and health category, cooking oil, rice, sardines, tuna, other non-perishable items, hygiene supplies, water purification tablets, multivitamins, blood pressure machines, shipping barrels for packing. That's another of the categories. Here comes another one, school supplies. So these are areas in which these non-profit organizations, these 501(c) organizations, these charitable organizations are providing a platform from which to highlight the needs of our fellow Jamaicans who have been impacted by Hurricane Beryl, and they have categorized the areas which we have been sharing. So those of you who are not sure what to buy, what to share, what to build, what to create, and so they have sent us this massive list in different, which they have categorized essentially. And so in terms of drop-off locations and dates, Friday, July, the company is, the particular location is, or the overarching location is Trans-Carib or Trans-Carib Express Shippers. Trans-Carib Express Shippers, 163 Tremont Avenue in East Orange, New Jersey. If you're in that area, that's one of the drop-off locations. Trans-Carib Express Shippers, 163 Tremont Avenue, East Orange, New Jersey. The pickup location and dates, well, we're still at Trans-Carib Express Shippers, 163 Tremont Avenue, East Orange, New Jersey. And the date and time there, the date is Friday, July 26, 2024, from 9 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. Saturday, July 27th, from 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, and the same time for Sunday, the 28th of July, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more information, you can check out info@jajafoundation.org, info@jajafoundation.org. And we have given you the lists of the various items, and we trust you will spread the information so that it goes viral and the number of contributors will multiply. Thank you very much, Dr. Trevor Dixon, to you and your team of volunteers and all the others who have and are contributing to this cause. So thank you very much. In the meantime, 876-922-4112-5 are the numbers to call. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Franklin MacDonald says the Prime Minister's announcement of an assessment is well timed on the 21st of July. The ODPEM will be 44 years old. I do not know what plans they have to mark the date, but I think they have built a significant capacity and disaster management in the whole Caribbean region. And he goes on to say, as far as I know, all the items in that needs list you're reading out are available in Jamaica, hardware stores, on land in Jamaica. People need cash to buy them, shipping. I get the impression, Franklin MacDonald, that they have a partnership with the shipping company. Remember, I mentioned I read a bit of the information about the shipping company, and it's not uncommon to have that kind of collaboration when engaging in charitable items, the movement of charitable items. So you can rewind the tape, Mr. Mack, and you'll see that we made provisions in the announcement for the shipping component. So thank you very much. And this one says, where do we? Right, it's going to be a logistical nightmare, says Mr. MacDonald. People need to remember it takes cash to care. Donate cash, not goods. This is one of the lessons that can be shared with your diaspora oral lessons. I urge you to speak to the Salvation Army, the Seventh-day Adventists Welfare Service, or did you make a Red Cross before you recognize this? Again, you are creating problems for the humanitarian organizations. All those items are in Jamaica, as I understand it, in some abundance. Please speak to the experts on the ground in those 3 entities I have named. Well, we have shared the information at the request of the contributors, and the information is out there. Thank you very much, Mr. MacDonald. As we continue with more of your calls on 876-922-4112-5, the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 365 3346. 876 365 3346. And so let's check out a couple of the other messages and information that is being circulated. So let's see. Christoph Cole says, "Good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. When does the land agency come on? On a Monday, Land Solutions on a Monday from 2:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon." Hope you got that, Christoph. Land Solutions every Monday from Monday morning from 2:30 to 3:30. Thank you, Christoph Cole, for your interest, and hope you won't miss Monday's edition. How about that? As we continue with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And let's see, some information to share with you. And we are going way back. The year was 64, as in those two numbers, 64. Well, 6 and 4, 64. We're not calculating, we're just saying make a note that we said 64. The Great Fire of Rome broke out and destroyed much of the city on this day in the year 64. Despite the well-known stories, there is no evidence that the Roman Emperor Nero either started the fire or played the fiddle while it burned. Still, he did use the disaster to further his political agenda. The fire began in the slums of a district south of the legendary Palatine Hill. The area's homes burned very quickly, and the fire spread north, fueled by high winds. During the chaos of the fire, there were reports of heavy looting. The fire ended up raging out of control for nearly 3 days. 3 of Rome's 14 districts were completely wiped out. Only 4 were untouched by the tremendous conflagration. Hundreds of people died in the fire, and many thousands were left homeless. Although popular legend holds that Emperor Nero fiddled while the city burned, this account is wrong on several accounts. We'll tell you why after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45. Join your favorite nighttime show, Dear Pastor, with Reverend Dr. Aaron Damas, Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 p.m. Call in or text in and have great discussions with Dear Pastor as we exchange views on a range of subjects. That's Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Damas, Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 p.m. right here on Power 106 FM, the Power 106 FM app, and go-jamaica.com.
No matter.
Continuing with a bit of the history. So, although popular legend holds that Emperor Nero fiddled while the city of Rome burned, this account is wrong on several accounts. First, the fiddle did not even exist at the time. Instead, Nero was well known for his talent on the lyre. Listen carefully. Nero was well known for his talent on the lyre. That's Lyre. That's an ancient musical instrument. So Nero was well known for his talent on the lyre. He often composed his own music. More importantly, Nero was actually 35 miles away in Antium when the fire broke out. In fact, he let his palace be used as a shelter. Legend has long blamed Nero for a couple of reasons. Nero did not like the aesthetics of the city and used the devastation of the fire in order to change much of it and institute new building codes throughout the city. Nero also used the fire to clamp down on the growing influence of Christians in Rome. He arrested, tortured, and executed hundreds of Christians on the pretext that they had something to do with the fire. What a thing. So, Rome burned on this day in the year 64, but Nero did not fiddle while Rome burned. He may very well have been doing something else, but definitely not fiddling. Continuing with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, and another bit of history for you. Governor Edward Trelawney, and that's how the parish got its name. Governor Edward Trelawney informed the House of Assembly that he had been advised that a Spanish priest from Guatemala was at the Mosquito shore on the island of Roatan in the Bay of Honduras, which was administered by Jamaica and was propagandizing the Roman Catholic religion. The House resolved that the priest should be sent for and brought before members to be questioned. Not sure what eventually happened, but we can tell you a bit about the Mosquito or Mosquito Indians. They're called Mosquito Indians from the English pronunciation of their homeland, the Mosquito Shore of Central America, which is now part of Nicaragua, had a long association with Jamaica. Many were brought to the island in the 18th century to help track down the Maroons and discover and destroy their provision grounds and settlements. And some chose to remain, and there was constant traffic between Jamaica and the Mosquito Shore because the Mosquito Shore was for a long time a British protectorate administered from Jamaica. This came about after the British captured Jamaica from the Spanish in 1655, and that gave the British a base for moving on to the Atlantic coast of Central America to challenge Spain. When the Central America colonies won their independence from Spain in the 1820s, the British kept control of Belize and maintained their claim over the Mosquito territory until 1860. They had established a line of English-speaking kings to preside over the Mosquito and maintain loyalty to the British Crown, and the education of these kings was the responsibility of the governor of Jamaica. One little king of about 7, whose father had just been murdered, came to be educated in Spanish Town in 1804. He also visited Lady Maria Nugent, the wife of the then governor of Jamaica, George Nugent. The last hereditary king of the Mosquito territory, Robert Henry Clarence, died in Kingston on January 10, 1908, aged 35. He had been a pensioner of the British Crown resident in Jamaica since August 1894 in compensation for the deprivation of his former status when the Nicaraguan government took possession of the Mosquito Shore. Today, the former Mosquito territory includes the very anglicized settlement of Bluefields in Spanish-speaking Nicaragua. So we still have some ties there, one way or another, with Nicaragua and other areas. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5, 876-922-4112 to 5. And there is, you know how it is if your name is not widely used and someone hears your name and perhaps hearing it for the first time, it naturally stands out. So you take, for example, Edmund Clark Kincaid. That surname, Kincaid, Kinkead, was born in Kingston on this day in 1873, the eldest of the 12 children of Edward Daniel and Ursulina Clark Kincaid. He was educated at the collegiate school, then the best school. At the time, it was regarded as the best school in Kingston and at schools in England. He worked in the drug department of his father's store in Kingston. He studied optics in Toronto in the mid-1890s and then ran the optical department of his father's establishment. Later, he started his own office as an optician. All right, let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Here's a call coming in from North Carolina. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good afternoon, Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I was listening to your presentation on the people of Nicaragua,
Yes.
and I just want to relate two experiences I had recently. Recently, I went to the Cayman Islands, and me and my friend went out to drink. You know, it's a small light drink, and we were being served by a girl who, based on her accent and the perfect patois that she was speaking, I asked her which part of Jamaica she came from. And she said that she's not from Jamaica. So I I started questioning her as to some of the possible places in the Caribbean that might have the same accent like we have, probably St. Vincent or Antigua or whatever. She was like, no. And I asked her if she was from Costa Rica, because I knew of some people of Jamaican descent who settled in a place called Lemon in Costa Rica who speak perfect patois, you know. And she was like, no. And then she told me that she's from Nicaragua. And I was so amazed because I've never heard of Bluefields, Nicaragua, until I met that young lady about 2 years ago in the Cayman Islands. Fast forward to like 2 weeks ago, I was refereeing a soccer game. Where they call it soccer here in the States, you know, where it's football. I'm a referee. And one of the players came up to me and he was just talking in patois, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, where in Jamaica you from, you know?
Yes.
And he told me that he was from Nicaragua.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that.
Bluefields, Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those areas have been occupied by Jamaicans. I'll have to check my library. There's a book, a section of which helps to demonstrate the connection as well. Earl Moxham has done a couple of documentaries on those Jamaicans as well. So it's.
Yes, and I would love it Jamaica could reestablish a connection with those people because, it's like they're just Jamaicans out there just, I wish we could reestablish a connection with them and, learn from them, maybe put some piece of history together based on what they know and what we know. Because many Jamaicans do not know about these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And also, because I watch a lot of YouTube, and I was looking at Ecuador, and I saw something that came up about there's this mountain in Ecuador called the Devil's Nose or something, and back in the late 1800s, the government of Ecuador embarked on a mission to build a railway to get from one part of Ecuador to the next. So they went and they got people from Jamaica, the same people who had experience in building the Panama Canal and the railway in Costa Rica and certain parts of Central America. And they showed where there was this graveyard where many of the Jamaicans who were killed based on explosions and all of that from the rock movements, and they were buried there. And they said that they even had some descendants who are there as well. And then I remember this song that we used to sing growing up that says, Solomon Gonde, Ghana, Ecuador, left him wife and picked out the door. Have you heard that song before, Dervan?
No, first time I'm hearing it.
Yes, there's a song that says, Solomon Gonde, Ghana, Ecuador, left him wife and picked out the door. Nobody business but him own.
Oh,
and
that
the
one.
song went on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so basically, what that song was basically depicting the Jamaicans who actually went to Ecuador to work. You know what I mean? And it was being told in that song, and I didn't get to make the connection until when I saw that thing on YouTube about the Jamaicans who went to Ecuador. I was like, oh, that's where that song came from. Because we're just singing that song without any meaning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until I was able to watch that documentary and make that connection. So basically, as I said before, we need to try to make a connection with people from those countries, bring those Jamaicans in, because the amazing thing about it, they were able to maintain the Jamaican culture and language within a Spanish-speaking country.
Yes, you know what I mean? True.
Which only shows the strength of our people and our resolve to be what we are. You know what I mean? So yeah, the Jamaican trait usually stands out. Whatever our mix, you can't leave out the Jamaican out of the mix. Exactly. And they still cook the rice and peas, and they still do the stuff that we do in Jamaica still. Because even if I go back to the people of Costa Rica, they were not, when I spoke to some Costa Ricans who have lived here in the States, they said that they were not allowed to go mingle with the locals back in those days. So as a result of that, they were able to maintain their culture, and they were able to go to an English-speaking school plus a Spanish-speaking school. So they were able to maintain both languages. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because one of these days I want to visit Lemon in Costa Rica first. Hold a moment, please. One moment.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high-quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is now accepting applications for the Dr. Barry Wint Memorial Scholarship. Jamaican citizens pursuing a first degree, master's, or PhD in any health-related field, including medical social work, human resources for health, nursing, dentistry, health economics, or any other, can qualify for up to $1 million per year for 5 years to complete their studies. Visit www.moh.gov.jm/scholarship for more details and to submit your application. Deadline date is Wednesday, July 31, 2024. We look forward to seeing your application.
Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yes, sir. And the thing about it is this. If Jamaicans were start after back in the late 1800s to go and work on the Panama Canal, build the railway tracks in Central America, go down into to South America, into Ecuador, and build one of the most breathtaking human feat of engineering back in the days. Why are we now, when we're supposed to be more advanced, after descending to China and all those different places to do some simple construction? Is what I mean?
Yeah.
And even to look at the flat bridge. Right now, the flat bridge is an engineering marvel. And so where did we lose, and when did we lose our ability to be sort of ingenious? Is what I mean?
Yeah. Somebody just decided to make a decision. You know, there are different reasons why people do things when they do things.
And Dervan, I just slipped out the office when I heard you was talking about the people in Nicaragua, so I just slip back in. So
Yes.
I'll continue to listen. All right, thank you, Dervan, and enjoy your program. Okay, sir?
Thank you.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye. Continuing with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. And if you ever need to research or check out the mix of Jamaicans in Costa Rica and elsewhere, the mulattoes, the blacks, the Amerindians, the Asians, we're told that Costa Rica has 4 small minority groups. Earl Moxham has done some very good work in that area, and I think we need to follow up with him. We'll follow up one afternoon. We'll perhaps have him on the program, and we talk about the Jamaicans in Costa Rica and elsewhere, Nicaragua, and so on and so forth. In the meantime, let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, my professor, Mr. Dervan Malcolm.
Good afternoon, Mr. Neville Carter.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to go through some maths with you on your program today, based on Hurricane Beryl.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you a question. What have you learned from Hurricane Beryl, Mr. Malcolm?
That the more things change, the more they remain the same.
Thank you, sir. I remember one of the mantra of your program, proper preparation. Can you repeat that mantra for the people in Jelani and St. Elizabeth here, sir?
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Thank you, sir. You know that the NHD is giving out grants.
Yes.
What is the difference between a grant and a loan, Mr. Malcolm?
Well, the grant you don't have to repay it, but the loan you have to repay.
And you know, this that our farmers, they are not getting any grant, they are getting a loan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard the Prime Minister said that he has asked what do you call it, Jamaica Development Bank.
The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ.
Yes, sir. So provide loan to the farmer, and he emphasized loan, not grant.
Oh.
But those who pay their NHT and them house staff blow for them window blown, or any house damage, they can go to the NHT and get grant.
Mm-hmm.
So all the while we have been talking on this program that too many Jamaicans working without payslip.
Yes.
This is where it shows in the system that if you don't play the system right, when it comes to natural disasters, you'll be wiped out.
Mhm.
And I'm asking you this, Mr. Malcolm, from a mathematical point of view. With all these insurance and all these insurance money that the government gets from their various hurricane insurance, none of it can go to the farmer. The farmer wasn't on the insurance list.
But I wonder if a decision was taken to acquire a loan, that would have been the farmer's choice.
Because I hear the leader of the opposition, Honorable Mark Bowling, saying that with the destruction of the $10 billion for the road alone, the road, government might have to go and borrow money from a bank to fix the road, because the money that they get in through the insurance can't fix everything. So when they put in the school and other infrastructure, that money done. So we are not properly insured, Mr. Malcolm. Hello?
It's a matter of how the funds acquired were deployed. Mm-hmm.
I want to point out this to the workers of Jamaica. You see, when, as we go up in the century, and things begin to get worse in terms of climate change, the digital revolution, and the Great Reset, and the New World Order, it's the same way. When the layoffs come in, a lot of layoffs going on in America now, because the stock market companies, they are protecting their shareholders.
The companies listed on the stock market.
Listed on the stock market.
Mm.
Another private entity, they are structuring their books now for the American election.
Oh.
And as a result, they're doing a lot of layoffs, because if Trump wins, they shake up the world financially. And a lot of layoffs going to come. It's the same way if you work at a place, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, black people, and you're not getting a pay slip to show that the statutory deduction are going where they're supposed to go. You cannot get any unemployment, insurance, security, nothing. So these black people who work in downtown and uptown, in them liquor, wholesale and retail and the party shop, and all of these small, medium-sized enterprise, mom and pop store. Remember, you have your personal responsibility to secure yourself, the government. Don't insure you.
Having said that, though, the government always has a duty to see to the needs of its people.
It seems like even the greatest of intent, you need cash to care.
Always.
Always, Professor, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Another much thing I want to share with the people. Much I'm speaking. I don't give financial advice. You see, you have a thing in accounting and economics that they call the multiplier effect, Dervan.
Uh-huh.
When you have a hurricane like this, it causes a ripple effect through the economy.
Naturally.
Naturally. Like, for example, the farmer who might have a car loan to pay, depending on those crops in the field.
Yes.
Pay car loan and other loans, and the hurricane come and wipe them out. You're going to miss some loans here.
Yeah.
Some loan payment. You have a thing in accounts that they call prudent.
In
time like this, you become very prudent. It means you become cautious.
Yes.
I'm suggesting it out here from Nickel Point to Moran Point, from the Galena Point to the Goat Island. insured. What happened to the farmers in terms of they get $6 billion in losses, and they have to go back and borrow money to put back the crop in the field to feed the Jamaican. They don't get a bailout, you call that a bail-in, because they have to suffer the loss. You see, if you have a money in a bank account, that is above insurance for the bank, 1.2 million. Be careful what you're doing. Or not just that bank, if you have 6 million in the bank and it crash, or some hurricane come and the whole system crash, it's only $1.2 million you're going to get back by law, you know. But you see, if you mix up that 6 million into 5 different bank accounts, you get back your 6 million in a Dervan. Am I right? By law, and mathematically. Because the insurance policy for the bank, they tell you, they only insure you up to 1.2 million. You know? So be careful. Only having the $20 million in the bank book in a time like this, in World War III. And you just lie down in your bed and say the bank, everything all right in the bank, you know. That crop that the farmer missed, some of that 6 billion is money that the farmer did borrow from the bank, you know, and he can't pay it back. So the bank will put that in a book as either what you call bad debt or provision for bad debt, you know. And at the end of the day, the shareholders who own the bank, he's not going to suffer that, you know, because he's covered by a law term name, limited liability status. Am I right, Professor?
Yes, and then the farmer loses again.
Thank you, sir. And the people lose again. Because remember, FinSac caused a lot of people to go down and commit suicide, you know. So all you see going on in this insurance of hurricane and all of these insurance and the instability in the world, do your maths. Do your maths. Maths is the most important subject on the earth. Another thing, Mr. Dervan.
Yes.
Last thing. You know that more Jamaican people die of heart disease than any other king in Jamaica since the year started, heart disease.
Oh, I heard something about that.
Well, why is it that you think so many Jamaicans are dying from the heart?
Oh, I'm no expert on these matters, but on the face of it, we are a passionate people.
Passionate.
And we go hard whenever we come upon certain situations.
So we stress easily.
Yeah, it would appear.
All right, Mr. Malcolm, I'm putting it out there for all who is over 18 and working. Make sure you can bury yourself. So, don't leave that expense on any family member to go borrow money or going and them saving in these times to bury you. I think everybody should take a personal responsibility to set up a burial fund through some insurance, through the bank or the credit union to bury yourself now, because we are really in perilous times.
Yeah, and I have no doubt there are those who have done it, maybe not in large numbers, but I've heard and seen and experienced a couple of stories.
I'm putting these things out here, Mr. Malcolm.
That's a good thing.
It's all about the money.
Yeah. Hold a moment, please. Hold on, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15. Are you looking for a powerful platform to promote your business in North America or the UK? Look no further than The Gleaner. Reach the diaspora and ignite brand awareness through our geo-targeted publications. Call 876-922-3400 or your Gleaner representative to explore the available options and
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon, Franklin McDonald.
Good afternoon, Dervan. I want to thank you for carrying some of the material I've been sending you.
That's
But I
okay.
just wanted to comment on something you said after I suggested that the matter of handing over physical items in the diaspora is to be looked at with great care. Could I go ahead?
Sure.
The experience in many disasters. Remember, I sent you a later thing saying that on the weekend we will celebrate the 44th anniversary of the ODP.
Yes.
When people in the diaspora donate physical items, especially items which are readily available in Jamaica, even if the shipping costs are covered, you present a big logistical challenge to assemble those items somewhere in the diaspora, containerize them, put them in aircraft or ships, get them to the port of entry in Jamaica, and then set up a distribution chain inside of Jamaica. The experience, and I think I can speak for the agencies I named, of the Red Cross, the Seventh-day Adventist Welfare Service, the Salvation Army, Food for the Poor, is that if you already have the goods in Jamaica, it's better to buy them through the hardware supply chain than to import them from somewhere far away.
You're speaking in terms of those.
I can think of is water. After Gilbert, there were literally tons of water coming out of the west coast of U.S. stock, because by the time those shipments were mobilized and began to move, the water supply in the area affected was already back. So I urge you to touch base with people with experience in relief supply chains.
Well, those are some of the happiest people I've ever seen when it comes on to packing a barrel or making arrangements to ship items.
Again, never just spoke to you about numbers. Work out the numbers there, man. What does it cost to ship water from California?
No, I'm just telling you what I've experienced, I'm just telling you what I've experienced.
Urging you, one of the things I would like you to think about is the experience and knowledge of people on the ground. People may appear happy to do the packing and moving, but it's costing money. It's costing their time, and it's not necessarily delivering the service that the victims of the event need. If in fact you already have zinc on the ground in Black River, then it's better to buy it and deliver it tomorrow than to wait for someone to pack it up and ship it. Now, there are going to be some items that are not in good supply in Jamaica, but those have already been known of to the Red Cross, Salvation Army, Food for the Poor, etc. And I think common sense must prevail. So I hear what you're saying, but I'm telling you what the experience in doing complex relief operations is. Why ship an item if you can provide the cash to deliver it tomorrow? At the least, the shipment will take days, perhaps weeks, and sometimes months. So I understand the enthusiasm of people to give goods, but if you check with some of the consular offices which end up assembling those things, I think you'll get a reality check.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, but in that case, Dervan, do not read long lists which will begin to get people in the diaspora moving items. Allow the local persons with experience, including the Ministry of Social Security and the Office of Disaster Preparedness. Again, let me remind you, that office has 44 years of experience because they were created on the 21st of July, 1980. Part of our national anthem speaks about respect. we need to respect experience of victims and the experience of people who have worked in this field before. May I go on to comment about, from the person who spoke about people in Jamaica and Patois in Central America and Ecuador?
Yes, you can go ahead.
One of the interesting things about your program, Dervan, is I don't think you look back into the historic diaspora of Jamaica or the Caribbean islands. Marcus Garvey, at the beginning of his career, went to Central America, and we need to remember Mr. Garvey was very mobile. He was a printer. He could get a job anywhere. So he had an experience of going through Central America. He was in Costa Rica. In fact, there is a Garvey Center in Limon. And he moved all the way down to visit the Jamaicans who were in Ecuador. Many people seem to have forgotten a few things about Mr. Garvey. He was a voracious reader. So the people who call you and tie up your line for hours talking about things that are in their heads need to understand Mr. Garvey would not have supported that. He believed in acquiring knowledge. He himself had an extensive library, and if the internet were around, Mr. Garvey would be looking at the internet and Googling. So when I hear, I think there are a couple of people who call you regularly saying the same things. To respect the line in our nationalism that says true respect to all, they should look up things and then criticize what they find, but not to speak because it's their opinion. So I just want to urge that little piece. Now, in Central America, there's a very old diaspora. And again, we need to understand that during slavery, as described in a book by Equiano, and again, people need to go Google Equiano. He wrote one of the most famous slave narratives. Equiano was taken captive at the age of 10, brought into the Americas, spent time in Jamaica. I think he bought his own freedom 2 or 3 times and ended up as a civil servant in London. He financed, for instance, the insurance claim dispute over the ship that went down near Jamaica, where human beings were thrown overseas to reduce losses because of insurance. And we also need to remember insurance, as we know it, was developed as a complement to the slave trade. And I don't think we spend enough time figuring out whether insurance reduces losses or reduces risk. I hear statements being made that Jamaica's insurance will lead to risk reduction. Does it really reduce risk, Dervan?
It depends on where you're coming from.
No, it doesn't depend on where I'm coming from. If you buy insurance on your house and you don't reinforce the roof, does it reduce the risk of your house being damaged in a hurricane? No. It helps you to recover faster. I know you many times have said you're interested in words, so it's very important to look at what words mean. So risk reduction and loss reduction are related but not the same things. So I think in the programming you do, you probably need to spend a little more time unpackaging some of the details. In the case of Hurricane Beryl, we're going through a quite traumatic event because until now I have not yet heard a pronouncement from the Met Office about what the wind speeds were. Have you?
No.
Well, isn't that strange? This is the second week after the event. I think by now, and I think I share with you my experience, you can use your Google search machine by voice or by typing to ask the stations on the Jamaican coast, and I will tell you some of them, more on Point Lighthouse, more on the Norman Manley International Airport, Rocky Point, Black River. The ports, airports, and lighthouses in Jamaica have automatic wind gauges, and they will tell you, even in the middle of a hurricane, what the wind speed and direction is. So it is possible to obtain those and they're available. But I am not sure why we are so surprised at the damage on the south coast when the wind speeds exceeded the minimum for hurricanes. And again, I've shared this with you. I'm not sure if you have shared it with the listeners because you have a very subtle and sophisticated system for filtering information you receive. So, that's an issue which, of course, may need to be ventilated at some other point. Anyway, I just thought I would share with you that there is a Jamaican diaspora of some antiquity in Central America, Panama, Costa Rica, the Colombian islands of San Andres, etc. And in those islands, for the information of your diaspora, as far as I know, and I learned this from Peter Street a few years ago, in many of the schools, children attend schools and get their science in a textbook written in Jamaican patois. These are our neighbors. We bump into them in other places. But again, a program or an evening show dedicated to the diaspora, it seems, should be exploring some of these. They listen to you, Dervan, as do the people of Haiti, because your FM transmission gets out of the country. Anyway, I thought I'd speak to that and maybe urge you to interview Olive Senior, a well-known poet and author who has written on the Panama-related diaspora and also the Central American diaspora. And again, it's a very interesting person to interview when your regular, repetitive callers take a break. Thanks, Dervan. All the best.
Okay, take care. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thank you very much, Franklin McDonald, and all the very best. You had shared us a message about Mary Seacole and her autobiography. Speaking of her work in Panama, and that you believe on both Atlantic and Pacific coast, there again as a source which something is missing there, which manager made us aware of or unaware of. The well-known Jamaica writer on point, Olive Senior, has written on that part of the, something is missing here as well, of the asper, or did you mean aspect? All right, we'll come back to this message after the break.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. There's a retirement crisis in Jamaica, with only approximately 10% of the working population saving towards retirement. Many people do not participate in a formal pension plan, such as contract workers and the self-employed, and some are not eligible for a government pension. Every member of the workforce has the opportunity to participate in a pension plan and secure a monthly income for their retirement. Join Real Business every Monday at 9:30 a.m. for an informative discussion with Peter Rose Hall, Managing Director of BPM Financial, discussing the importance of retirement planning and the solutions to move Jamaica out of this crisis. Retirement Wealth Creation is brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher.
One cocoa for a basket, yeah.
1 cocoa full basket. And the appeal continues as we turn our attention to our neighbors in Clarendon as they pick up the pieces in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. We're collecting non-perishable food items, tin goods, water, toiletries, batteries, flashlights, whatever you can afford. Every mickle mecca muckle Drop off at RJR Gleaner 32 Linders Road or at 7 North Street, Kingston by midday on Saturday, July 20. Let's join hands and hearts to assist our fellow Jamaicans in Clarendon on the road to recovery.
Come together and make it work.
Welcome to Your Legal Corner on Power 106 FM, your source of information for all matters regarding U.S. immigration. Call in with your questions and concerns on 876-922-41125. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Time now for Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, right here on Power 106 FM.
It's a Thursday afternoon, just after 3:30, and you know what that means. Time for another edition of Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. Greetings, Miss Dahlia. How are you?
I'm good, Dervan. How are you doing this evening?
I'm fine, thanks. And so where do we start? You have you're in a very, very, very busy space right now, I'm sure. Or
I am, and it's not a comfortable space to be in. We've been here before. We've lived through several administrations over the 17 years we've been doing this program. We certainly saw the impacts of the COVID pandemic. We saw the impact of the previous U.S. administration as opposed to the current one and the one before that. And, there's just a lot of chatter going on right now that there is a strong possibility that the previous administration could come back into power. And what that means a lot of things, or would mean a lot of things for the Caribbean, not to mention the United States, because the proposals of what would be implemented is all out there. It's been outlined, it has been hidden, it's there for everybody to see in writing and in videos. So it should not come as a surprise to us if the previous administration comes back in and things start getting implemented. It should not. And so, I've been saying for a number of years that there are some categories of filing that take a very long time on a regular basis. For example, siblings or married sons or daughters of American citizens. And my thing has always been file it and forget it. And it couldn't, I can't say more now than I have over the last 17 years, because there's a strong possibility that some of these categories could be eliminated if the previous administration comes back into power. Let's remember that during COVID, there was an executive order in 2020 that stopped interviews and processing for permanent residents for all but spouses of American citizens and minor children. So let's just keep that in mind, that the stance of the previous administration towards immigrants was very clear. It is very clear going forward if they should regain the presidency, and more so if one party should gain the Congress and the Senate, then it's a blank check at that point. So I'm just saying to people, your listeners, if you have an inclination that you may want to file for somebody, do it now, don't wait. And also I'm saying to your listeners who are American citizens who live in Jamaica and those who live overseas, to please pay attention to the November elections as they're coming up. Voting will actually start way before November. Early voting, vote by mail will start very early. So the opportunity for you to vote is there. Please become informed as to the issues. Vote in your interests and don't be a one issue voter. So many times, what does that mean? There are lots of issues going on. Don't just vote because one issue might be something that you agree with, and then the other 99 will affect your life. Because let's take abortion as one issue. A lot of voters in America are one issue voters. They vote on abortion. So you may vote for someone who says, I am pro-life, anti-abortion, and I'm going to continue this thread to stop women from having the right to choose. And then the other 99 issues that candidate or candidates may stand for may totally paralyze you in terms of the rest of your life. You may not even be a person who can have an abortion. You may be too old to conceive. You may be male, and you would never think of having one. But if you vote that way on the one issue and not look at the other issues, you could stand to paralyze your life and the lives of your family members as you know it. So please be informed. All the information is out there. This is not the 1970s where you actually had to go to a meeting to know what a politician stands for, whether it's at the highest level of the presidency or the Congress. All that information is out there. Platforms, issue papers, everything is out there. Inform yourself on what is going on and vote your interests. That's my little spiel for today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Delia. Listeners, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington. Taking your calls, your messages, your comments, 876 922 4112-5. 876 922 4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. But there's also 876 279 8598. 876 279 8598. So go ahead and ask your questions of an immigration nature, U.S. immigration related. The lines are open. Please take full advantage. Here's a message. This one says, "Good afternoon, Dervan. My immigration papers are currently being processed. Would there be any implications if I should do an adoption of my nephew who has been living with me for over 9 years?"
Well, it depends on who is doing the filing. So if a child can be a derivative, then if you have an adopted child, you adopt before the child is 16, and the child has lived with you for 2 years before or after the adoption, that child will be able to accompany you, because that is the deemed an adopted child for immigration purposes. So it depends on who is filing. Let's say this person has an older child who is filing for him or her. Then that adopted child becomes the American citizen's sibling, and that child would not be able to travel with the parent. But let's say the adopted parent's mother or father is an American, is filing for them, then they can have a derivative beneficiary. So it's always good, it's a good question to pose, not only in the immigration context, but it's always good. And we know that there are a lot of people in Jamaica who raise children who are not their own, for you to secure the legal documents for that child. Ensure that you adopt the child, because not only for immigration purposes, but also for inheritance purposes. that child is not your legal relative unless you adopt the person. And we see too often where people raise children and then they pass away and the child was never adopted, so has nothing to get in terms of inheriting their parents, for all intents and purposes, their parents' estate. Certainly for immigration, it matters because the key thing is that the adoption has to take place before the child is 16 for you to get any immigration benefits. So it's always a good idea.
And there's a follow up here, Ms. Dahlia. The where is it now? Right, this part here would be if I should do an adoption of my nephew who has been living with me for over 9 years. I think that's where I left it. And then the person adds a more to it to say, my husband is filing for me.
Okay, so if the husband is a green card holder, the child will be able to add it. If the husband is a U.S. citizen, then the husband has to file a separate petition for what would be his stepchild. So, and again, the adoption has to take place before the child is 16. So we don't, there are lots of facts that need to be known. The adoption area is one of the most tricky areas in immigration because they look to so many little nuances. The next question that may come in is, where is the child's parents? Why aren't they able to care for them? And that can also be a question that comes into play when the immigration papers are being processed. So I would suggest that they sit down with an attorney and go over the facts on here, because it is a very tricky and troublesome area.
Thank you, Ms. Dahlia. If you're just tuning in, this is Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. And we're taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number. Same as the WhatsApp number as well, 876-279-8598, 876-279-8598. But there's also the regular 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Any question that you have in relation to U.S. immigration matters, this is the time, this is the place. We're coming back with more in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
Poor roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road, and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads. You're listening to Your Legal Corner, your source of information on all matters regarding U.S. immigration. You can call in with your questions and concerns on 876-922-41125. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Now, back to Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate your listenership, viewership, and support. And Stephen Barnes says, bless up, Sir Malcolm. Bless up to you too, Stephen Barnes. Thank you for your message. But of course, what we're taking from you right now is information through by way of questions with respect to U.S. immigration matters. So if you have a U.S. immigration issue, this is the time, this is the place. Here's an opportunity to get your questions answered. 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346 or 876 279 8598. And we still have quite a few minutes before we have to wrap today's edition of Your Legal Corner. But don't wait until the last minute. Go ahead, make your call, craft your message, send it to the numbers we've been giving you, and you'll get an opportunity to update information where that is necessary or to take advice accordingly. 876-922-4112 to 5 are the numbers to call. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm the person who was sent this message about the adoption.
Your volume is a little low.
I said I was the person who was sent this message about the adoption.
Oh, okay. Welcome.
So, yeah, thank you. What I'm not sure about is that I'm the person who is doing the adoption. My husband is a citizen, but my papers are now being processed. So what I wanted to really know is it okay for me to go ahead and do the adoption? No. Or should I
How old
wait?
is the child?
He's 14 years old.
Yeah, you need to do it because the adoption has to be final before 16.
Right, I know that, but what the question was, I wanted to know if there would be any implications if I do it. No.
No, I don't understand what implications you are referring to.
I don't know because my papers are being processed now.
Yeah, well, the child would not be able to come on that paper.
No, I know, but I wasn't sure if I adopt him now, if it could affect anything that they're doing. No.
No, ma'am.
It wouldn't. So it's okay if I go ahead and do the adoption now. Hello?
Hello, Miss Delia?
Yes.
Hello?
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it would be fine if I do it now. That's all I need.
Ma'am, this program does not give direct advice. I give general advice. I give direct advice when somebody is my client. So as I'm telling you from a general perspective, if you have a child who's been living with you for more than 2 years, and the child is under 16, and you adopt the child will be eligible for immigration benefits. Whether that child will get the immigration benefits, I don't know. You being filed for by your husband, if you have an attorney, I suggest you have that conversation with your attorney. But in general, if somebody is being filed for and they adopt a child, that should not have any implications on their filing. But when it comes to your specific situation, I'm not giving you any direct advice. I'm giving general information.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the call. Once again, listeners, This is Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington. And the numbers to call 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. More messages coming in. Let's see if we can clear these. This one, Miss Delia, says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and lawyer. How likely is it for me to go back to the US on an H-2B visa after extending my time for 6 months on my previous work visa? I came back to Jamaica 4 weeks ago. Will the fact that I did the extension affect my chance of going back that quickly, or there is a downtime I must sit out, as I have been told by unofficial sources?"
Well, so generally speaking, requesting an extension on an H-2B is not supposed to be a negative because it's allowed. So if something is allowed and you do it, it should not have an impact. But then again, when it comes to the officer at the embassy, looking at the petition, they may look at, well, how long has this person been outside of Jamaica? Were they away for a year? They're now back for 4 weeks and they're trying to go again. Are they actually living in America on an H-2B visa? So there is no written rule for how long you must wait before you apply for another one. But these are some of the things that the officers look at. How has a person been using the visa? Have they been spending more time in the last year? How much time have they spent in their home country as opposed to in the United States, and looking to go again in short order? These are the things that the officers look at. Are you actually living in the US either on a visitor's visa by coming and going and spending more time in the US than you are in your home country? Or are you doing that on an H-2B visa? So those are the things the officers look at. We don't know which officer you get. We don't know which officer is going to look at it one way as opposed to another, because it's a very subjective process.
Thank you, Ms. Delia. Listeners, once again, here's your opportunity to have your U.S. immigration questions answered in general terms, not necessarily specific to a particular individual, but an issue is raised and it is broadened. And those who seek the answers have an opportunity to get some feedback on that score. So for right now, please feel free to call 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4114. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line for Power 106 is 876-279-8598. And it's the same for the WhatsApp number and text line combined, 876-279-8598. But of course, whenever I am on, I share the Power 106 FM assigned cell phone, which is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Another question for you, Ms. Delia. This one says, F2B category, priority date, September 2017. I was advised that the matter is with the NVC. I am yet to hear from them. I am getting impatient. When do you think that I will receive some communication?
Okay, so if the file has been approved, or the F2B is the adult unmarried son or daughter of a green card holder. Once your file is approved by USCIS, the petition is approved, it is sent to the NVC, the National Visa Center, and you should get a new case number, a KNG case number, and a priority date. Now, they say their priority date is when? October 2017?
Let's see, September 2017.
September 2017. Okay. So two dates, two things. One, they're going to be processing the application, and then when everything is, all the documents are received, you sit and wait for a visa to become available. So this month in July, they're processing applications with a priority date of January 1 of 2017. So this person is September 2017. It doesn't mean that come August, they'll be at February 1. Sometimes they move a couple of weeks, sometimes they move a couple of months, sometimes they don't move at all. So each month we check the visa bulletin to see where they are. So the next date that you need to be concerned with now is when is a visa actually available. So they're processing my paperwork, but when they've processed it, they have everything. When is a visa going to become available for me? In the month of July, visas are available in the F2B category for persons with a priority date of earlier than May 1 of 2016. They're working on May 1, 2016 for visas, actual interviews, and then processing paperwork January 2017. So they should start to process this person's paperwork, hopefully within a year, and then a visa should be available a few months thereafter. But can't give you any definitive. Just can tell you where they are today, and that's where they are.
All right, Ms. Delia, thank you. And you have another one here. That's any idea where they are with filing for married daughter? Priority date is October 5, 2018.
Okay. So married daughter is F3 of an American citizen. They are processing paperwork that was filed before October 1 of 2010. So it's a very long wait. Never used to be this long, but it's somehow they can't get over the pandemic backlog in this particular category. And visas are available April 1 of 2010. So in this married category, it's actually taken about 14 years to be processed. It used to take 7 or 8, and we would complain, oh my goodness, it's taking so long. And now it's fallen back this far.
Okay. Well, we don't want to fall back any further right now because we have to go to we have to wrap. And thank you very much, Ms. Delia, as usual, for your resourcefulness.
My pleasure, Dervan. It was great to be with you.
Likewise. Thanks a lot. And all things being well, we'll catch you next time.
Catch up next time.
Okay. Take care. You too.
You've just listened to Your Legal Corner, your source of information for all matters regarding U.S. immigration. Join us next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, right here on Power 106 FM. At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Motorists, listen up, cause me have a couple tips. If you ride on your bike, have on your helmet. Seat belt is a must, no drive without it. And make sure the little one them well strapped in. Make sure them fit good in them car seat. Pedestrian this term, bring back to mind everything where you learn. Never you cross when you see a green light. Look right, then left, then again look right. Remember now, if it dark outside, make sure you wear something when look right. Walk right or drive, be wise, stay alive. On the road, be safe, stay alive.
Road safety begins with you. A message from the Road Safety Unit.
taller I become, the farther you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Oh, you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Won't do. There's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Your lies will come tumbling. Deny my place and time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind you. Because there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. No, you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Won't do. Something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Hello to Richard in Yonkers, New York, saying, greatly appreciated. God bless you and your listeners. Have a blessed day, Richard. Thank you, Richard. All the very best. And we're still taking your calls. Lines are still open. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Oh, I'm sorry. If we could just check which call came in first between these two. I have here 2 minutes 39. This one? Okay. All right. So let's go with the caller. Thanks for holding. Good afternoon.
You hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm the one that you're talking to. Yeah, I just want to thank you for walking to you for advice, good advice as usual about who you should vote for and how you should cast a vote. Very good advice. A lot of time we get caught up with one issue, but it's best to look at the overall picture of what the situation is, and then make a decision. Obviously, this year seems to be going to be a very tough, what you call it, tough decision to make in the sense that, as well, not say tough, but I think the age of Mr. Biden is the issue. I guess Donald Trump is older, but not the age so much, but the mental condition of Mr. Biden is an issue, I think. I don't know. I'm going to leave that there because people have different opinion on that, but that's certainly it seems to be an issue. I want to touch on something that Mr. I think Mr. McDonald, that's his name, Steve McDonald, was talking about sending food items.
Yes. But that wasn't Steve, though. That was Franklin McDonald.
Okay. Okay. I agree totally agree what he's saying there. A lot of times we don't know. A lot of people here don't even realize that a lot of the food stuff in Jamaica sometimes is the same price and cheaper than here in the US. So I don't even send borrowed food stuff anymore in Jamaica. Unless if there's certain food like cereal, certain things that made here in the US, they get them probably far cheaper here. But most of the basic food items you'll get in Jamaica for almost the same price or sometimes cheaper. So it's, in my opinion, it's kind of best to send the money back. And then you could easily just help the people, like your close relatives or family, to make sure that they are okay. I think that's one of the best way I could say, to look at it is send, something for them. And unfortunately sometimes they, it's probably go for the wrong reason, but at least they're okay. And then you can donate to a church or organization that are reputable. I think was it National Bank? Was it? I think they said they were taking up some donation and they were going to match it. Have you heard anything about that one, Dervan?
National Commercial Bank?
Yes. I think they were going to take up some donation and then they'll match it. Whatever the amount was, they're going to match it. I was thinking about donating to them. Something to them if that was the case.
Well, if I hear anything, I'll let you know, but I haven't heard any further updates. I think an announcement was made in the first place.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I would like to report, by the way, these organizations would like to report of what they're doing, how they're distributing, if they're distributing money, are they distributing are they buying food item, what they're doing. Sometimes we like to hear the reports and how many people they were able to help and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of important,
Yeah. The initiative that we highlighted was post burial, and they seem to have collaborated with, or are collaborating with, Jaja Foundation. That's one of the entities I'm familiar with. And they have sort of put out information so people have a general idea of what to take or what to give or how to help, etc.
Right. One thing, if you have things already and it's like canned stuff, and you're not gonna use it, because sometimes we have canned stuff in our cupboard, and we know that we're not gonna use those things for right now, and then they may go bad in the future. Maybe that's a good way of giving us sending these things back home, because they literally, the stuff that you don't throw it anyhow.
Well, whatever works for the sender, whatever works for the sender.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that's one of the only way I see it meaningful to send the item back itself. If you have it already, and
yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing, I heard JPS said they have like an emergency fund that they were able. I think they tap into $5 million US already, and they are going to tap into the rest or tap into more to get the infrastructure back up. And I'm thinking that's a great idea, Dervan. Why instead of the insurance, why didn't we or why don't we have such a fund for the country overall? And if the money has not been used say for 10 years, then we could use some of that money to upgrade our drainway, our drain, bridges, you name it. You don't think that's a good idea to have such a fund, Dervan? instead of insurance?
Yeah, isn't that? Well, it's not too far from what has happened in the past
What do you mean?
in terms of the being able to respond effectively to the needs that the incident would or event would have caused.
Oh, but I mean, do we have the question I'm asking? Do we have such a fund that the country have such a fund where they can tap into?
I think it's called CRIF, is it? Catastrophe something.
Okay, so why we had why they I'm not sure if this people government went and took out insurance for hurricane. If we had such a fund, why they did that?
It's a question that we should ask of the decision makers.
Right, and how much is that fund right now? How much is that fund? Do you know?
Let's see what we have here. CRIF. Go down the line. Bureau. CRIF Information Bureau, Jamaica. Let's see. Every Jamaican over the age of 18 is entitled to receive a free copy of their credit report each calendar year. Okay. You click here to access a credit report application processing guidelines. Click here to access credit report application. Yeah, it will take a little time. Let's see.
Maybe you could find another time, but I think these information are very critical for us to know. Do we have such a fund, right? I mean, and how much are in there right now, right? And what circumstances do they get access to? Also, I think it'd be nice if you could have such a fund for the Caribbean. We could tie into another country. Every country has a certain amount of people sit on the board voluntarily, and the board. So when such a disaster happens, the board can decide who gets what and when. It will be a much larger pool of money, and it will be a much way to spread the risk.
Yes.
So that when something like because insurance, in my opinion, insurance is you're not gonna get, in my opinion, and again, insurance is kind of very difficult in this situation to get good benefits of insurance. But I think if you have a pool of countries and you can everybody into the pool based on population, based on certain criteria, and then there are certain criteria whenever there's a disaster, the board decided who get what and how much you get based on what happened, based on how much in the fund. Just as you said about the federal government, states is the one who put money into that disaster fund. So whenever something happens into a state or going to a certain part of the country or a certain county, the president can declare that county or that state or region a disaster region, and then they pay out. So I think it would be nice for us to have something like that, Dervan.
Yeah, well, it does exist.
All right, look it up and then let us know what it said, and maybe I could look into it.
Yeah, man, it's there's website crif.com.jm.
I'll try to look into it though.
Yeah, it's not hard to find. crif.com.jm. Mhm.
I'm driving now, but I'll try to look into it myself. But if you hear anything, then let
Okay.
us know though. Yeah, if you see
All
it,
right, no
let us
problem.
know. No, take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
17 minutes past 4 o'clock.
I want to tell the farmers about the Digital Foundation. It not only helped me as a farmer, but it helped my entire community with farming. I want you to know that they have a new thing coming out called the 20 for 20 for 20 grants. If you're a registered community organization with disabilities, schools, even farmers, you need to apply for the grant at the digitalfoundation.org.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. And we see some messages that weren't on screen before. Natalie Winter says, Dervan, give us the list of items again. Dr. Trevor Dixon says, good afternoon. Just tuning in from the Bronx, New York. Good afternoon, Dr. Dixon. Mike Montgomery says, good afternoon, teacher, to you and your listeners. I want you to big up my friend, Police Bose, and on his birthday, and thank you for the good work you're doing. Keep safe, teacher. God's blessings, I wish you. Blessings to you too, Mike. Robert Bob Ritchie is online as well. He says, hello, Dervan and Dahlia. I'm urging all of my friends and family who are eligible to become American citizens to start the process immediately, because if the orange returns to office, don't be surprised if green card holders will start facing new challenges. And this one, again, from Dr. Dixon, saying the individuals we're targeting is the underserved, those who go to soup kitchens because they can't earn a living for whatever reason. Disability or mental illness are big issues at times. That previous response was with regard to Hurricane Beryl relief for St. Elizabeth. So there, didn't realize that you were reacting to the comments as they were popping up. All right, so that's what we have received so far. And who was asking us to repeat the list? Let's see. Let's go to let's go down the line here. Right. So the areas, the needs list, that's what it's called. Hurricane Beryl Relief, Jamaica. The Jaja Foundation, in collaboration with the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations, UJA, and Trans-Caribe Express Shippers, has arranged a 40-foot container to ship relief supplies. So you could easily read this to mean that the container is already paid for, or it's a contribution with respect to the use of the particular entity that has worked out the shipping arrangement. So the needs list, there are 1, 2, 3 categories, I believe, and well, more than 3. So they are represented differently, so that we have building/home, and that would take in tarpaulins, plyboard, generator, nails, screws, lanterns, flashlights, disinfectant, bathing soap, detergent, rags, mosquito repellent. The other categories, twin categories, food/health, cooking oil, rice, sardines, tuna, other non-perishable items, hygiene supplies, water purification tablets, multivitamins, blood pressure machines, and shipping barrels for packing. Shipping barrels for packing. And then there's the school supplies section, and the items in need: pens, pencils, and sharpeners, notebooks, backpacks, markers, crayons, pencil cases, bags for packaging, and school glue. And there's a drop-off location in East Orange, New Jersey, 163 Tremont Avenue, East Orange, New Jersey, 07017. And they're going to be facilitating drop-offs at that location and on the dates stated. So it's the drop-off location and dates: Trans-Caribe Express Shippers, 163 Tremont Avenue, East Orange, New Jersey, 07017. Friday, July 26, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, July 27th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sunday, July 28th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And for more information, feel free to contact via email info@jajafoundation.org. That's info@jajafoundation.org. So there's the information. Who was that again? Somebody was asking us for that, and we have obliged. So let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. We're seeing more of your messages popping up. This one, Dr. Trevor Dixon says, the individuals we are targeting, which I think I read this again. Individuals we are targeting are the underserved, those who go to soup kitchens because they can't earn a living for whatever reason. Disability or mental illness are big issues at times, they say. That previous, this one says, yes, Trevor Dixon says, yes, the Jaja Foundation has purchased the 40-foot container. The original dumpling shop has come on board as a sponsor for this endeavor. And Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm, tuning in from Portmore today. That's good of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. This one says, this is the program called Real Talk with Carol Boyth. saying, good afternoon, Dervan, Malcolm, and esteemed listeners. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all having a fabulous day. I just cannot believe it is already Thursday. Time is flying by so quickly. Tell us about it. That became quite palpable during COVID-19. The way the time was zipping up, zipping by. That's one thing I remember about the COVID-19 era, the COVID-19 period. So let's see, we have a lot of time to take and facilitate more of your calls, questions, issues right here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And we trust that you're also using the opportunity to take note of the needs that are out there being facilitated by fellow Jamaicans. Here's a message from H. Morgan in Birmingham. H. Morgan says, hi, Dervan, good afternoon. Good afternoon, H. Morgan in Birmingham. He says, I am watching the midday news on TVJ. I saw some areas highlighted in St. Thomas, Port Morant to be exact, and its surroundings. What I saw, it seems instead of Jamaica going forward, it's going backwards. The water that the residents are drinking, I don't understand how there isn't an outbreak of disease in the area. Even the local councillor is saying he is disgusted with the response he receives from the NWA and the NWC. The roads narrow down to just a donkey track because of the amount of bushes that grow along the roadways. The gullies are blocked, needed urgent cleaning. Two cars would not be able to pass each other on the road. It's a disgrace the way those residents are being treated. To be honest, I am not surprised because St. Thomas has always been neglected, no matter which party is in power. The current MP for that area, including Sunny Hill and Water Valley, she does not report or respond to emails, phone calls, or letters. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
1-1 Cocoa full basket. And the appeal continues as we turn our attention to our neighbors in Clarendon as they pick up the pieces in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. We're collecting non-perishable food items, tin goods, water, toiletries, batteries, flashlights, whatever you can afford. Every mickle mecca muckle. Drop off at RJ Glean at 32 Linders Road or at 7 North Street, Kingston by midday on Saturday, July 20. Let's join hands and hearts to assist our fellow Jamaicans in Clarendon on the road to recovery.
Come together and make it work.
Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Record your expenses. The first step to start saving money is figuring out how much you spend. Keep track of all your expenses. That means every coffee, household item, and cash tip, as well as regular monthly bills. Record your expenses however it's easiest for you. A pencil and paper, a simple spreadsheet, or a free online spending tracker or app. Once you have your data, organize the numbers by categories such as gas, groceries, and mortgage, and total each amount. Use your credit card and bank statements to make sure you've included everything.
inside so strong. I know that I can make it.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Here's the message we started reading before going to the break. The current MP, well, let's go up a bit so that it makes sense. It gets a little longer. I am not surprised because St. Thomas has always been neglected no matter which party is in power. The current MP, Miss Michelle Charles, for that area, including Sunny Hill and Water Valley, she does not respond to emails, phone calls, or letters. I have tried several times to contact her, and she declared, or is it declined? Declined to respond. No representation for those citizens, as if they are not part of Jamaica. Disgraceful, says H. Morgan in Birmingham. Thank you for your message. Circumstances notwithstanding, H. Morgan in Birmingham. Cuban in Georgia says, Sir Malcolm, what about the European grant that they gave to the government for the Biggie program? That shouldn't be hard to find. That kind of information you can get from the Access to Information unit or department in whether it be a ministry, department, or agency. And let's see, Cuban in Georgia has a bit to say here. He says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Salvation Army, Red Cross, and Food for the Poor, the private sector, and the Chinese all getting big concession and duty-free on everything they ship to Jamaica. But yet still Jamaicans in the diaspora will never get concessions from any Jamaican government. But I also want to know how much do these groups contribute to the GDP? Sir Malcolm, do these give back to the Jamaican economy more than the diaspora? These policies of the government must be reviewed, giving concessions to the rich has not worked and will never work. These are colonial policies that are outdated. And he goes on to say, Sir Malcolm, is it fair for multinationals to be granted concessions and your own citizens have to pay hefty fees whenever they ship items to their home country? And the final of the thread of messages, Sir Malcolm, what about the European grant that they gave to the government for the Biggie program? Access to information. And here we go. Franklin McDonald has shared some more information with us. Donation assistance for disasters abroad. Thank you very much, Mr. McDonald. So there's a section looking at donation assistance for disasters abroad. And this is the Canadian model. Canadians feel strongly about helping to support communities affected by natural disasters and other emergencies abroad. The best way for Canadians to help during an emergency situation is to donate money to experienced humanitarian organizations. And there's a list on this page: cash donations, turn donated goods into cash donations, food, clothing, and other goods before volunteering your services. Cash donations are the fastest, most efficient way to get help to people living in a disaster zone. They allow relief agencies to buy supplies based on the specific needs of people, get aid to affected populations as quickly as possible, support the local economy, which may have been seriously affected by the disaster. In most cases, it is more cost effective to purchase goods locally than to airlift supplies from far away. Also, local goods can be purchased in much less time than it takes to organize the logistics of an airlift from a distant country. The Canada Revenue Agency has a frequently updated list of registered charities. Search the project browser for humanitarian partners and relief agencies that the Government of Canada works with to deliver humanitarian assistance in affected areas. And it goes on. Thank you very much, Mr. McDonald. And let's see. They also have a section here about before volunteering your services. Before volunteering your services, if you are thinking about volunteering your services, consider the following. Rescue services are typically needed for a short period of time. Experienced search and rescue teams, often located closer than Canada, can be on the ground quicker. The need for life-saving first aid and other immediate medical assistance is usually short-lived. This is usually provided by health services in the affected country or from nearby countries. Many agencies have rosters of local and international volunteers who live near the affected area. People with relevant field experience and language skills can navigate the situation most effectively. Many countries require entry visas that can take weeks to get. In addition, specific vaccinations may be required. If you have skills that can be useful in a humanitarian crisis, register with a relief organization as a volunteer. They can provide advice on how to prepare to assist in a disaster zone with short notice. So that's the Canadian model. Thank you very much, Mr. McDonald. As we continue with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Thank you very much. Keep those messages and comments coming in. We appreciate them. We appreciate you. And we are grateful for your listenership and participation. And let's check to see if there are any changes in the contact. No changes. So we'll continue taking more of your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. In the meantime, let's share a bit of the rich history of this country here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And let's see. So if you missed it or if you haven't been following, today is the birthday of the great Nelson Mandela. He served as president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999 and was the first South African president to be elected in a fully representative democratic election. Before his presidency, Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist and the leader of Umkhonto weSizwe, the armed wing of the African National Congress, ANC. In 1962, he was arrested and convicted of sabotage and other charges and sentenced to life in prison. Mandela served 27 years in prison, spending many of these years on Robben Island. Following his release from prison on the 11th of February 1990, Mandela led his party in the negotiations that led to multiracial democracy in 1994. As president from 1994 to 1999, he frequently gave priority to reconciliation. In South Africa, Mandela is often known as Utata Madiba, an honorary title adopted by elders of Mandela's clan. Mandela has received more than 250 awards over 4 decades, including the 1993 Nobel Peace Prize. Nelson Mandela, born on this day in 1918. Welcome if you're just tuning in. This is Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. And looking forward to your continuing listenership. And let's see. So here's a bit of the history. The headmasters of Kingston College, St. George's College, Jamaica College, and Calabar High School, Reverend Percival Gibson, Reverend Father W.J. Ballou, J.W. Hardy, and Reverend D. Davies, respectively, do not support the staggering of hours proposal made by government in which schools would commence classes at 10 a.m. They all pointed out that most of their students either walk or ride to and from school. That was 1943.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Power 106 FM, the digital sound, and now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us on 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631-359-8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330-606-0953. Plus, listen to us on onespotmedia.com and the OneSpot Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all views can contend, giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. But it's really wrong so long. Because of my pride was long. Oh no. Something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. More messages coming in from Cuban in Georgia. He says, Sir Malcolm, those organizations don't have a clean record in distribution of funds and kind because we still remember Haiti and the 2010 earthquakes, where a certain organization collected billions of funds from the diaspora to send relief to the poor of Haiti, and the prominent organizations took the funds for itself and didn't even spend or send a penny to the people of Haiti. So many of those organizations cannot be trusted, says Cuban in Georgia. And let's see who else is messaging us. Oh, here's another blast from the past. 1958, Edith Dalton James introduces a motion in the Legislative Council to amend the Registration of Births and Deaths law. It seeks to have the name of the father of a child born out of wedlock included on the registration form along with the mother's name. And if there is no denial of paternity within 30 days, he will become liable for the maintenance of the child. That was 1958 in Jamaica. And 1969, the Governor General, Sir Clifford Campbell, assented to the National Honors and Awards Act, which established the National Honors of Jamaica. And that's why every year on Heroes Day in October, outstanding contributors to Jamaica's development are accorded various national honors at King's House. The highest of these honors is the Order of National Hero, which may be conferred on any Jamaican or naturalized citizen who has rendered the most distinguished service to Jamaica. The recipient is styled the Right Excellent and wears the insignia of the order. So that's a bit of the history of how that started, 1969. Let's go to the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dervan.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
I am giving thanks for life. And you?
I'm doing okay, thank God. I'm hoping that, you guys are recovering from the storm. Okay.
We're doing the best we can.
I am the one who is monitoring your music in the background. I've been really thinking about, your music in the background, or your background music. I would like to ask you a question. Do you have a system where you watch, how many listeners are listening, how many people are participating, on a constant basis?
It pops up on the screen.
It pops up on the screen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do you ever monitor whether it drops when you play certain type of music or rise when you play certain type of music?
Not necessarily. There are ups and downs constantly throughout the program.
Yeah, but it would be interesting.
Mm.
But anyhow, the last time I listened, you had many rivers to cross. And I enjoyed that one. And I must say, I have crossed pretty much all my rivers in life. I don't think I have any more to cross.
You can't be serious. Why not?
Actually, at my age, I don't think I have any more rivers to cross. But one thing that I am proud is that all the rivers, the thousands of rivers that I've crossed, I never burned one bridge behind every single one that I crossed.
Mm. That's quite a reputation.
Yes. I get good compliments, from people, that I've helped and things like that. And I decide to maintain that until, I am no longer here. But I do listen to your program a lot, though. When you play a music in the background that I don't like very much, I have to be honest with you now, right? When you play a music in the background that I don't like very much, you know what I do.
Don't worry about it, man. That's fine. That's fine.
But I won't stop listening to your program, though. But it would be interesting if you monitor that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Your listenership and the type of music that you play, if it goes up or down.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what I called to tell you, because I'm very good on what you call it now, keeping records or monitoring things. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Anyhow,
Mm.
anyhow, you have a wonderful day, and I love your program. Never stop listening to it.
Thank you very much. You're very kind.
Have a wonderful day. Calling from Florida.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. As we draw a little closer to wrapping today's edition, still some ground to cover. This one says, let's see, Sir Malcolm, howdy do to you and the rest of Jamaica. Hoping power is restored to everyone very soon. Thank you, sir. Well, we thank all those who have been playing their part in trying to shorten the time span so that those who have been without electricity for some time now can in fact get back on track. And all the others of us who have other matters to take care of. Let's go to this call here. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon. Hi, Mr. Malcolm.
Hello.
I missed your program. I couldn't get you at all. You were off for most of the afternoon.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And I'm in Kingston. I couldn't get you at all. It's just, no, I tried again and I realized you're on.
Uh-oh.
And I called you I've called you just when you're about to finish. But while I couldn't get you, I was surfing and checking on my weather report. There's a weatherman out of Orlando who does a very good weather report, and I've been following him from last year.
Oh.
And I was watching what he showed for today, and he was showing the pattern as of August when things with the hurricanes and the storms are going to heat up. And from what he's showing is not looking good for us in our area at all, come as of August, September going forward. Because there is some high pressure. Well, it's a La Nina season, so it's got a very active. In addition to that, there will be high pressure, which will be keeping the storms in our area this year, as against last year when they would have curved before they came into the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be kept low down in our area. And what the arrows showing, boy, there is Jamaica. Not looking good. So the play is not going to be so because Mr. Malcolm, we can't go through anymore. we couldn't go through anymore. But God forbid, we all should be on our guard, because if this is going to pan out, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. It's predictions, but these people study the pattern and whatever, and he seems to be fairly knowledgeable. Anything can happen, anything can change, but they're going to be kept down in our region this year.
Okay.
So we need to be on our guard. We had burial. That may just be the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So we need to keep up our guard, or have our preparation, do all of what we can do, and keep on top of things as best we can, because we may be in for a rough time.
Oh, Lord help us. Well,
not looking good. Not looking good.
Well,
all the arrows are bringing the hurricanes and storms in our region.
Yes. Well,
going towards Mexico and thing. I don't see anything going up to Florida, like they normally would curve and go Florida way. They're coming our way, going across, going maybe Mexico, like Beryl. Like what Beryl did.
Yes. Well, thank you for the reinforcement, so that we don't think we're out of the woods yet. We
just regard do what we have to do.
Yes. And
Beryl taught us listen.
speaking of which, I have to run because it's almost 5 o'clock. But thank you.
Okay,
thank you very much
bye.
for calling. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. And can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Thursday, the 18th of July, 2024. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.